Hi, boys and girls. It's Miss Basel. We are going to go over your topic 4 and 6 tests that you took on decimal multiplication and decimal division. I know the video might be a little lengthy. That's because I'm going to work out all these problems and use the strategies that you should have used when you worked the test. Obviously, as you're reviewing your answers, you know which questions you have correct and which ones you have incorrect. So you can fast forward or rewind as needed throughout the video. So if you're somebody that just missed one problem, you're just going to fast forward up to that problem, take a look at it, make sure that you understand it now that I've taken the time to work it out and talk about the strategy. Same thing as if you missed 3 or 5 problems, okay? All right, so let's start with number 1. Kyle spent $19.57 at Domino's Pizza. She purchased a medium-sized Honolulu Hawaiian pizza for $13.99. She also purchased 2 sodas that each cost the same amount. What was the cost of each soda? So I'm asked the cost of each soda, and I know that there are 2 sodas. Some information that's going to help me solve this problem is I see she purchased a medium-sized pizza and 2 sodas. So she made a purchase of 3 items. So her pizza right here was $13.99. These are her 2 sodas, 2 drinks that I don't know the price of. There we go. Sorry. Let me back this up a bit. And I do know the total cost that she spent on her purchases. So that was $19.57. All right, with this information at hand, I could subtract the amount of the pizza from the total purchase price, and what that would leave me is the cost of the 2 drinks. And then if the 2 drinks are the same cost, I could divide that total cost of the 2 drinks by 2 to get the cost for each of the sodas. All right, so with that, I'm going to start with some decimal subtraction. $19.57 minus $13.99. All right, decimals, when we add and subtract, we line up the decimal points in a straight line and bring that down to our answer area. I cannot subtract 900ths from 700ths, so I'm going to regroup out of the tenths, 4 tenths, and I'm going to take this as 10 hundredths and put it with the 7 hundredths I already have. 17 minus 9 leaves me 8. Cannot subtract 9 tenths from 4 tenths, so I'm going to go to the ones, regroup these as 8 to ones, and I'm going to bring 10 tenths over with the 4 tenths I already had. So 14 tenths minus 9 tenths is 5. 8 minus 3 is also 5. And I don't have anything when I subtract the tens place. So the 2 drinks cost $5.58. So if I know the 2 cost that, then to find each individual cost, I'm going to divide $5.58 by 2. The decimal rule is when you're dividing, you do not want a decimal in your divisor. So I don't have a decimal in my divisor, so all I have to do is pop up the decimal point onto the quotient bar. I'm going to divide the 5 by 2, and that goes 2 times. 2 groups of 2 is 4. I'm going to subtract, check it is less than the divisor, so I can bring down the 5. All right, 2 divides into 15, 7 times. 7 groups of 2 is 14. I'm going to subtract. 1 is less than the divisor, so I can go ahead and bring down the 8. 2 divides into 18 9 times. 9 times 2 is 18. I have nothing left over. So what I believe my answer to be is 279. I feel pretty good because it is in the answer bank. I can always add 279 plus 279 plus $13.99 and make sure that it adds up to the total cost of $19.57. It does. My answer is A. All right, let's talk about Keisha, number 2. Keisha bought 4 boxes of crayons for 78 cents. How much will she pay for the 4 boxes of crayons? So each box is 78 cents. So basically we just have 4 groups of 78 cents. So if I get a quick estimate, 4 times 78 cents, you know what? That's very close to 4 times 1. which gives me an estimate of $4. A little bit of a high estimate because I rounded up my second factor. All right, let's set it up. 78 cents goes on the top times 4. All right, 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 3 is 31. 4 times 0 is 4, plus 3 is 3. I have 2 decimal digits in my 2 factors. So what that means is I need 2 decimal digits in my product. So I get that the 4 boxes of crayons cost a total of $3.12. That is answer choice B. All right, let's look at number 3. Each small square in the model represents 1/100th of a whole. So we're talking about each of these itty bitty teeny tiny small squares. The whole square is 1 whole. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4 holes being modeled here. All right, or at least being drawn. Now, I know my shading might be a little bit hard to see. So what I can tell is that when I multiply, the crisscross area is where, or the overlap area is where the product is. So I see light gray, I see some white space here, I see a medium gray here, and a dark gray here. So when we multiply, we have 2 factors. And when we multiply on models, one factor will go vertically and the other factor will go horizontally. So we can work with this multiplication model either with decimals or its counterparts, the fractions. We're working with decimals, so our factors are going to be decimal factors. So what I see when I look at the columns, which go this way, I know one column are 10 hundredths or 1/10. So I have 10 columns in the first model, 10 columns shaded in the second, 10 columns shaded in the third, and 2 columns in this fourth. So I see 10, 20, 30, 32 hundredths. So 32 hundredths. Sorry. Let me go back. I see 32 tenths. My bad. 32 tenths. So 32 tenths would be the same as 2 in the tenths and a 3 in the ones place. So 3 and 2 tenths. 3 holes are modeled and 2 tenths of this model. All right, that would be one factor. Now I'm going to look to see what do I have going across horizontally. Now that is the medium gray right here. And I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. And each row is 1/10. And it goes all the way across each of the factors that we already have our 3 and 2 tenths shaded in. So I have 6 tenths being shaded for the second factor. So my first factor goes vertically, the columns. My second factor goes horizontally, these 6 rows. Now, the product is inside the dark gray where they overlap, the 2 factors. So I see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of 10 columns. So that's 60 hundredths, another 60 hundredths, another 60 hundredths. So that's 180 hundredths. And then I have these 12. So that's 192 hundredths. So hundredths, tenths, this will be the 1. So my decimal would go right here. So I have basically shaded, if I could pull them out and rebuild these models, I would have one whole model and 92 hundredths of another model shaded. So what I'm looking for is the answer choice that matches what I've come up with. And I see that that would be answer choice B. Okay? All right. Let's take a look at number 4. A rental car company charges 7 cents per mile for a rental car. If a customer drives 42 miles, how much will the mileage charge be? All right, it's going to be a cheap rental car, I can tell you. All right, number 4, we have 7 cents per mile, and we're traveling a total of 42 miles. Okay. Now, when I look at this, I want to go ahead and think about a quick way that I could get an estimate. You know what? 7/100 is close to 10/100 or 1/10. If I multiply that times 42, when I multiply, I'm going to put the decimal, and I'm looking for a smaller part of 42. So I move the decimal, in this case, to the left one time for that power of 10. That gives me just a quick estimate of 4 2/10, which, if this is money, wouldn't that be $4.20? All right, that's what I think. All right, that's a little bit of an overestimate because 7/10 was rounded up to, 7/100 was rounded up to 10/100. All right, so let's see what happens when we multiply. Our larger number factor goes on the top. We're multiplying by 42. All right, start with the 2 in the ones place. 2 times 7 is 14. We regroup. 2 times 0 is 0. We add the 1 to get 1. And 2 times 0 is 0. We're done. We put down our place value holder and we move over to the tens place. 4 times 7 is 28. We regroup the 2. 4 times 0 is 0 plus the 2. And 4 times 0 is 0. We add our two partial products together. 0.294. Now, decimal placement. I'm going to look. I have 2 decimal digits in my 2 factors. I'm going to put 2 decimal digits in my answer. I get 0.294. Again, it's money, so this is going to be $2.94. I feel happy to see that mileage charge right there with answer B. All right, number 5. A group of 63 fifth graders, I have a little typo here we'll get to, is attending a field trip to the Science Museum. If each student admission ticket costs $9.25, how much did it cost for all of the, it should be fifth graders, to attend? All right, so let's look at this again. I want to know how much did it cost for all of the fifth graders to attend. So there's 63 going on the trip. I know that each ticket costs $9.24. So I basically have 63 groups of $9.25. That's going to be multiplication. I'm going to get a quick estimate. You know what? I'm going to keep this 63 and I'm going to multiply this times 10. $9.25 is really close to 10. Give me a little bit of overestimate. So I get $630 as my overestimate. So I can just go ahead and tell you from looking at the answer bank, it's definitely couldn't be A or B, could it? That is way off. All right, let's do the multiplication. Our number with the most digits goes on the top. So we have $9.25 times 63. All right, 3 times 5 is where I get 15. 3 times 2, 6 plus 1, 7. 3 times 9 is 27. I'm done multiplying by the 3 in the ones place. I put down my place value holder and I'm moving to the 6 in the tens place. 6 times 5 is 30. I regroup. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 3 is 15. I regroup. 6 times 9 is 54 plus 1, 55. So then I add my two partial products. 5, 7, 12. This would be 8 and 5. All right. I have 2 decimal digits in my factors. I need 2 decimal digits in my product. So this is money. So I have $582.75, which is answer choice D. Okay. All right. Number 6. Samuel earns $50.75 each week by working at a part-time job. He works the same amount of time each day for 5 weeks. What is the total amount of money Sam earns during this 5-week period? So I'm looking for that total amount. So I know how much he makes per week, and I know how many weeks he worked. So he worked for 5 weeks. So that would be 5 groups of $50.75. So I'm going to use multiplication to get my quick estimate. I'll tell you what, $50.75 is really close to that $50. 50 times 5 would be 250. That would be a really good, this is money, that would be a really good, slightly underestimate for what Sam is going to make. All right, $250. I can almost tell you right now it's going to be either C or D just looking at my estimate. So I'm thinking C, but let's work it out and make sure that's going to be true. So we have $50.75 times 5. All right, boys and girls, 5 times 5 is where we get 25. 5 times 7 is 35 plus 2, 37. 5 times 0 is 0 plus 3. And 5 times 5 is 25. I count my decimal digits in my two factors. There's only 2. I need the same number in my product. This is money. So we're looking at Sam earning $253.75. And my estimate was pretty good. Very close to C. All right, number 7. Reggie pays $982.27 each month to rent an apartment. How much will it cost him to rent the apartment for 1 year? All right, so 1 year. Now, what I know is we're talking about a monthly charge. So what I need to know is how many months are in 1 year, and that is 12. Okay, so he is paying, or he is spending $982.27 for each month for 12 months. So that's 12 groups of $982.27. So you know that is really close to $1,000. I'm just going to use this set of compatible numbers. $1,000 times 12. So it's going to be a little bit of an overestimate. So he's going to spend approximately $12,000 a year on his rent. All right, let's see how that pans out. So I can go ahead and tell you, looking at my estimates, probably, since that's a little bit of an overestimate, the answer is probably going to be D. I know there's no way it's going to be A. I can eliminate that one. All right, so let's look at it. $982.27 times 12. All right, let's start with the 2 in the ones place. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 9 is 18, plus the 1 is 19. You guys are seeing how fast I can multiply, and that's because I know my multiplication tables. So we keep talking about how having success in math is so important. From knowing these times tables, that's one of the ways we attain this success. All right, let's look at our 1 in the tens place. We need our place value holder. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 8 is 8. And 1 times 9 is 9. We're going to add those partial products. Got some regrouping here. 5 plus 7 is 12. 1 and 4 is 5. Plus 2 more is 7. 6 and 2 is 8. I know 8 and 8 is 16, so 8 and 9 would be 17. That gives me 2. 2 plus 9 is 11. I have 2 decimal digits in my 2 factors. 2 decimal digits need to be in my product. Go over 3 places, put my comma. This is money. So it looks like Reggie paid $11,787.24 for rent for 1 year. And there it is. Answer D. All right, let's look at number 8. Coach Bowman carried a bucket of baseballs to practice. The bucket held 96 baseballs, and each baseball weighed 5 2/25 ounces. How many ounces do the 96 baseballs weigh? So I want to know, how much do all of the baseballs weigh? How much do all 96 of them weigh? Well, I know one thing. I know that each ball weighs 5 2/25 ounces. So I have 96 groups of 5 2/25. So I'm going to get a quick estimate on this multiplication problem. I'd have to multiply. All right, I'm going to just round 5 2/25 to the 5. I'm going to round 96 up to 100, get a little bit, I think, of a high estimate of 500 ounces. No, sorry, 5 times 96, or 5 times, 500. Okay, so I'm looking at all my answer choices, and I'm going that they're all pretty close as far as digits, but the decimals change their values drastically. For example, A is 504 thousandths. That is a small part of one whole, not even 1 pound. The second one would be 5 pounds, right? 5 and 4 ounces. So one ball weighs more than that. So these first two don't make sense. The second two, we have 50 ounces or 50 and 4/10 ounces, and that's not very close to my estimate of 500. And the last choice is 504 ounces, which, boys and girls, that's super close to my estimate of 500. So I thought it might be a little bit of a overestimate, but it looks like it's going to be a little bit of an underestimate. Let's do the multiplication and make sure that's right. So 5 and 25 500ths times 96. And again, just using some number sense in our estimate, we think the answer is D. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 3 is 15. 6 times 5 is 30 plus 1 is 31. I'm done multiplying by the 6 in the ones place. I'm moving to the 9 in the tens place. I need my place value holder. 9 times 5 is 45. I regroup. 9 times 2 is 18 plus 4 is 22. I regroup. 9 times 5 is 45 plus 2 is 47. Adding those two partial products. Got a little regrouping. 5 plus 5 is 10. 1 plus 1 is 2 plus 2 more is 4. 7 plus 3 is 10. I get 50400, and I see there are 2 decimal digits in my 2 factors. I put them in here in my product, so I have 2 decimal digits. It's money, so it makes $504. Or sorry, not money. Sorry, it is not money. It is is ounces. So those 96 baseballs weigh 504 ounces, and that we saw with answer D with a really good estimate. I have tried to talk all year about when we multiply and divide, how important it is to get those quick estimates so we can see if our answers are reasonable. And sometimes when we're test taking with an answer bank, it can help us find our answer quickly. All right, number 9, Megan bought 9 pairs for $3.78. How much did each pair cost? So I know the total amount of all the pairs, and I know that there are 9 of them. So I'm basically going to break that total weight into 9 equal groups to see how much each pair weighs or costs. $3.78 is being divided by 9. All right, guys. This right here, I can go ahead and tell you that my pairs are going to cost less than $1 each, because in order them to be $1 each, I would have to have a $9 total cost. So I'm just going to go ahead and get a quick estimate of less than $1. Okay, so doesn't help me pick one because they're all less than $1. So let's start with the division. So we're dividing $3.78 into 9 equal groups to find out how much each of those pairs are going to cost. We do not have a decimal in the divisor, so we know all we have to do is move it up. All right, we know that 9 does not go into 3, so we can go and put the 0 there. Plus, it's going to be money, so we need a 0 in the dollar place. We're dividing 9 into 37 tenths. So 9 goes into 37 4 times. 4 groups of 9, when we multiply, gives us 36. We subtract. 1 is less than the divisor, so we can bring down that 8 in the hundredths place. Now we have 18 hundredths. 9 divides into 18 hundredths 2 times. 2 groups of 9 is 18, and we subtract. So I get the cost of each pair is going to be 42 cents, which I see is answer A. All right. Love question number 10. This is going to be a two-step problem. We've worked some of these in class just to get the gist of how they work, since it's a multi-step problem. So Mrs. Hoots bought a case of eggs. There's 60 eggs in her case at Walmart for $5.09. She had a coupon for $1.25 off the case of eggs. The question is, what is the cost of each egg after the price is reduced? Remember to round your answer to the nearest hundredth since you're working with money. And that's true. We always round. You don't have more than 99 hundredths or 99 cents when we work with money. So let's talk about the cost of the eggs. The cost of the eggs is $5.09, but she has a coupon for $1.25 off each case. So when you present a coupon, they subtract the cost of the coupon or the price of the coupon from the cost of your product. So if the eggs are $5.09 a case and we subtract that coupon for $1.25, we will get the new cost of the case of eggs. So 9 minus 5 is 4. Don't forget we're dividing or subtracting decimals, so we can just bring the decimal point straight down after we line them up. Cannot take 2 from 0 tenths. Going to make this 5 4 and bring over 10 tenths. And I get 8 when I subtract. 4 minus 1 is 3. So the cost of the eggs, once the coupon has been used, is $3.84. Now let's think about it. We want to know what's the cost of each egg. Well, that's the cost of the case of eggs. That's 60 eggs. So we need to break it down and see what each egg is itself. So we're going to take the amount and divide it by 60. All right, we're breaking up the total cost into 60 equal parts. Okay, now 60, well, first of all, is a whole number, and we're dividing into a decimal. We don't have a decimal to move out of the whole number, so the decimal doesn't move in the dividend. We just move it straight up, keep it between the ones and the tenths. 60 does not divide into 3. Since we're working with money, we need a 0 in the whole number place. All right, 60 doesn't even divide into 38. It's going to divide into 384. So yes, we have to put a 0 in the tenths place. All right, now 60 divides into 384. I'm thinking I could try 5 times. So 60 times 5 is 300. You know, when I multiply that, I'm going to get 84 as the difference. That's greater than the divisor. So I have to adjust my quotient. So let me try again. So it needs to go more times. So let's try 6 times. 60 times 6 is going to be 360. I think that's going to be a lot closer. Let's subtract. Oh, yes. Get a difference of 24, which is less than 60. So what I need to do is round this to the nearest hundredth. So I need to annex a 0 so I can keep dividing to see what's going to happen. The key is going to be what's here in the thousandths place. What's here is going to tell me if I leave this 6 cents or if I move it up to 7 cents. So I know 6 divides into 24. How many times? 6 times 4. So 60 divides into 240 4 times. Now, knowing that I have a 4 in the thousandths place means that the price of the eggs are going to stay 6 cents each. And I see that answer in my answer bank, answer A. All right, number 11. I saw a lot of you getting confused by this one and setting up the problem wrong. First of all, when I divide 10 into equal groups of 25 hundredths, I know from my work here, or from my value of my divisor and my dividend, I know that my answer is going to be greater than 1, right? I can make a lot of groups of 25 hundredths with 10. As a matter of fact, if I think about money, I can put 25 cents, 25 hundredths is 25 cents. I can make 24 groups of 25 cents with $1, and I have $10. So I'm thinking my answer is probably going to be close to 40. Well, it's probably going to be 40 using that little bit of number sense. But let's do the division. And this is what I see you boys and girls, some of you doing wrong. When we divide, the first number is the dividend. That's what's being divided into equal groups. So when we go to the standard algorithm, the dividend is what goes under that division house. All right. The 2500ths is the divisor. That's the equal groups we're making. So I saw some of you trying to divide 10 into 2500ths. So you had it set up incorrectly. Now, this is a situation where you have a divisor with a decimal in it, and we need to get the decimal out of the divisor. So we could multiply by 100 to move that decimal 2 places to the right, and then it would be behind the 25. So in order to make that same movement, because we have to keep balance, whatever we do to the divisor, we have to do the dividend. We put the decimal point in behind 10, still whole number. The decimal goes behind the whole number. But in order to move it 2 places, we're going to have to annex 2 zeros. So really what we have here, boys and girls, and I'm just going to move over to the side, is we now have the whole number 25 being divided into the whole number 1,000. All right, so 25 does not go into 1. It does not divide into 10. It does divide into 100 4 times. 4 groups of 25 is 100. We subtract. That is less than 25. We bring down the next number. 25 does not go into 0, so it goes 0 times. 0 times 25 is 0. We subtract. There's nothing else to bring down. We get the answer 40, which was what I used some number sense to think that problem through, and I just confirmed it with my work. All right, we're almost to the end. I know this is long, but for those of you that missed a lot, you really need this one-on-one time looking at your work against my work. Those of you that are just missing a few, you're just fast forwarding through. It shouldn't be that long. Number 12, Abby collected money to build a playground. She raised a total of $1,550. In all, 32 people gave her money. What was the average amount donated by each person? Round your money to the nearest cent. So how much she raised in all was $1,550. I want to know how much each person donated on average. So if they all donated the same amount is what on average means. And so I have to know how many people donated, which I do. So I'm going to have 1,550 divided by 32. So I'm going to get a quick estimate. I'm going to round 32 to 30. Looking at my numbers, I'm thinking closest thing, I know that 150 would be divisible by 30 because 15 is divisible by 3. So I'm going to use 150 and then I'm put that other 0 behind it. So this is what I know. I know the zeros cancel out when I'm dividing by a multiple of 10. I know that 15 divided by 3 is 5. And so I have this other 0 to annex. So I'm going to estimate that each person is going to donate approximately $50. So, wow, that's close to most every answer there. So I better do some good division, accurate division. So I'm going to go out to the side. I'm going to divide 1,550 by 32. This is money, and as you noticed, I've dropped the cents, so I'll have to put those back in at the end. So these are just the whole number part of my money. All right, 32, I think will go into 155 5 times. So let's see, 32 times 5. Oh, it's going to be too big. So it's going to be 4 times. So let me adjust that quotient to 4. All right, so 32 4 times is 128. That works. All right, when I subtract 128 from 155, I could count up. And when I do that, I get 128, I get 27. So when I subtract, that's going to be 27. I just like to count up so I'd have a clean slate here. All right, I bring down the 0. All right, I want to see how many groups of 32 I can make with 270. I am going to try, let's see. You know what? I'm going to double that. 32 times 8. Let's see what that gives me. Because 128 is what it is for 4 times. Rosie. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24 plus 1. I get 256. If I can subtract and not have 32 or greater, that works perfectly. So 270 minus 256, I can count up to 266. That would be 10, 4 more, so 14. All right, boys and girls, I still can't have a remainder. I need to annex another 0. Oh, wait, I forgot to put my 8 up there. I was like, why do I have a hole there? Forgot my 8. All right, I need to annex a 0 so I can keep multiplying, right? Now, when I annex that 0, this is money, so my decimal needs to be there and go straight up. All right, let me go back. That was a whole number, and that was money. All right, so there is going to be a decimal point. That's going to be very important. And a way that I can catch myself if I missed it is look at my answers. They're all 2-digit dollar amounts with the cents behind it. So that helped me catch it also. All right, when I bring that 0 down, I need to think about how many times does 32 go into 140. It looks like some of my multiplication I've already done on my scratch work could help me. So when I look at this, I see that 4 times gave me 128. That is pretty close. So 4 times 32 is 128. Again, I'm going to count up. So 128 to 138 is 10. 2 more to get 140. So my difference is 12. I need to keep dividing because with money, I need to get at least 2 digits behind the decimal. If I keep going, then the thousandths place will tell me what to round my cents to. All right, I need to annex that another 0 and bring it down. 32 goes into 120. I'm going to go, it's not going to go 4 times. That's going to be 128, so it's going to have to be 3 times. 32 times 3 is 96. All right, again, I'm going to use my counting up strategy so I can keep my little area clean. 96 to 106 is 10, to 116 is 20, and 4 more would take me to 120. So 24 is my difference. All right, now I'm going to have to divide one more time to get the digits in the thousandths place, so then I can figure out what's going to go here. So I'm going to annex one more 0. And even if I was starting to get stuck, there's one answer that's super close. Look at it. It's going to be 4844. So what I'm going to guess from that is that 32 will go into 240 down here more than, well, 5 or more times. So we already divided it into, let's see, no, we haven't divided into 240. We divided it into 270. And we got 256. And 8 was too many times. So I'm going to go with 7 times. Just using some of this past scratch work. So 224, yep, that'll work. I can subtract. When I subtract 24 to 34 to 40, you know what? I don't even have to keep going. I know I would keep annexing zeros until I stopped or got a repeating digit. But that 7 right there tells me that this is going to be $48.44. All right. So a little bit of common sense once I got 4843, or just dividing and knowing that we divide until we get our thousandths place digit with money so that we can then round to the nearest hundredth. All right, number 13, Jasmine extracted 5 6/10 pounds of honey from a beehive. She divided the honey evenly into 4 jars how much money was in each jar. They basically told us what to do. We're going to divide 5 6/10 into those 4 jars. So we are looking at 5 6/10 divided by 4. You know what? I know my answer is going to be just a little bit greater than 1 pound. And I know that because 4 pounds of honey would be each jar having 1 pound in it. And we have a little bit more than 4 pounds of honey. So let's do the division and get the answer. All right, 4 divides into 5 6/10. We do not have a decimal to worry about in our divisor, so we're just going to pop it up in our dividend. 4 divides into 5 one time. One group of 4 is 4. We're going to subtract, bring down the 6. 4 divides into 16 4 times, and 4 groups of 4 is 16. I am done with 1 4/10 pounds of honey per jar. A. All right, let's look at the last 2 problems. Number 14, we are solving. We're dividing 61 8/10 by 5. So I could quickly get an estimate. I could use 60 divided by 5 and get a quick estimate of 12. That is my whole number 12. That tells me that my answer is probably going to be C. All right, let's check it out. 5 will divide into 61 8/10. There is no decimal in the divisor, so we just pop it up in the dividend. 5 divides into 6 one time. 1 times 5 is 5. We subtract. It's less than the divisor, so we bring down the next digit. 5 will divide into 11 2 times. 2 groups of 5 is 10. We subtract. It's less than 1, or 1 is less than the divisor, so we bring down the next digit. 5 will divide into 18 3 times. 3 times 5 is 15. We subtract. Now, we know we cannot have a remainder when we are working with a decimal quotient. So we have to annex another 0 and divide one more time. There we go. 5 goes into 30 6 times. 6 times 5 is 30. So we are done. We had a really good estimate and were able to pick the answer before we did the work. 12 36/100 is my answer. Our last problem, number 15. We're dividing 5 775 by 3/10. All right. A lot of us really struggle with our estimating on these decimal problems. So I tell you, if that's the case, and this might be the one time you're going to skip the estimate. All right. So I am going to set it up. My divisor is 3. My dividend is 5 775 thousandths. So the first thing I notice is I have a decimal in my divisor. I need to move it so that divisor is a whole number. So that whole number would then be 3 because I'm going to move that decimal out. All right, it's now a whole number. I need to do the same movement with the decimal in the dividend. So I move it one time and replace it after the first 7. So what that gives me is I'm dividing 3 into 5 7.75. Now, if you want to get a quick estimate and see 57 75 divided by 3, we should be pretty good with our 3 tables. I'm thinking that's pretty close to 60, and 60 divided by 3 would be an estimate of 20. So now I'm going to tell you that I think my answer is going to be close to this one. All right, I think it's going to be close to C. 3/10. Move that one place. 5 and okay. So I'm going to pop up the decimal point and I'm going to start my division process. 3 will divide into 5 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. I'm going to subtract, bring down the 7. All right. 3 goes into 27 9 times. 9 times 3 is 27. I'm going to subtract, bring down the 7. All right, 3 goes into 7 2 times. 2 groups of 3 is 6. Now I'm going to subtract, bring down the 5. 3 goes into 15 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. So boys and girls, check that out. 19 and 25 hundredths is what I get with a really good estimate. Okay? So, could not really get a good estimate at the beginning, but once I had rewritten my dividend and divisor, I could get an estimate then. Okay? So I didn't give up. I worked through it with what I knew from what we've done in class. So that is it for your topics 4 and 6 test. And I will look forward to seeing you in class soon. Have a great day.